here. Great story. Was raised into the roughest, was able to get out. I went to Law Magnet High School so I went to the High School for Public Services, Government, and Law. Graduated there in 1990. Have a political science degree from Howard Payne University and a law degree from St. Mary's University School of Law. The first thing that I did is when I came home is I opened my first law office straight out of law school in District 7 on MLK Boulevard. And I knew a long time ago that eventually I would run for city council. That's why I went to Law Magnet High School. That's why I became an attorney, because I knew eventually I was going to do this. For years, I have saw a lot of things happen in District 7. There has not been the response that needs to happen. In addition to that, there's been a lot of fraud that occurred. I think we had been embarrassed by people getting arrested. We've been embarrassed by people going to jail for fraud and those types of things. And I feel like that the people of District 7 need better representation.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
All right. Do you have Mr. Donald Parrish Jr.?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Donald Parrish Jr. I'm the proud son of Reverend Donald Parrish Sr. I'm the assistant pastor of True Lee Missionary Baptist Church. We are 111 years young and have been a staple in District 7. The reason why I'm running is very simple. We had 252 murders by my count last year. 144 of them were people that look like me. We got to get better change and get serious about our public safety. We have to make sure that we zone in on the illegal dumping and all of the potential zoning changes that are happening all across District 7. And so I believe those and some other issues propelled me to get into this race, and I look forward to the question and answer period this evening.
Thank you, sir. All right, James Turknett. Sir, is he, I know he was in the other room. Did he not get bumped over here yet? Okay, we'll have to come back. I'll see if I can email or get in control of Mary or get in touch with Mary. So, Mr. Felder, are you here? Yeah, you are. There you are. You are on mute, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I'm Kevin Felder. I'm the former council member that represented District 7, and I have lived in the district for 25 years. I didn't move into the district in order to run. I'm a taxpayer. I own my own company. I own a real estate brokerage company. I have been active in District 7 for 30 years. I'm a precinct chairman, deputy voter registrar, business owner. I have helped a lot of small businesses to get established in District 7, such as Bacchus Cleaners. They got a loan when I was on the Southern Dallas Development Corporation, All Temps Temporaries, the Dallas Weekly, On Target Supplies and Logistics. The main reason I'm back in the race is because I was not finished with the work that I began. We passed a $1 billion bond package, and $50 million of that went to renovate Fair Park. And so I want to continue with that effort. I have been called by a number of people throughout District 7 in order to run again.
All right. Brandy, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, sir, Mr. Felder, for appreciate that. I just tried to contact the administrator to let her know that we are missing a couple of candidates that we thought were in the main room. Maybe they weren't, but I could have sworn they were. So until, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so until then, we'll go ahead and start with the questioning. And when they pop in, or if they pop in, we'll temporarily stop to let them do their introductions and then add them on to the last of the questions, okay? Okay, so let's get me over to where I need to go. So I was going to start with one question, but given today's events, we're going to call an audible. And what I would like to know, remember that every candidate has 1 minute to answer because there are so many candidates. That's why, given today's announcement by the governor about complete and total no mask mandate, 100% Texas is open for business regardless of state of COVID infections. How does each candidate feel about what the governor has proclaimed today? So if we could start with Adam, just to play it safe with Adam, not Balzadua. I will get there by the end of this, I swear. So Adam, what
It's
say
totally,
you, sir?
you can stick with Baz. It's easy.
Baz, that would be
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. So thank you for the question. I am actually extremely dissatisfied, disappointed. It seems to be a disappointment that has been continuous through the process of this pandemic. Before any of the regulations came in, I actually sent out correspondence to District 7 saying that the District 7 office would be going remote about a week and a half before any moves were made in the city of Dallas. I think that as leaders, it's our job to be prudent and to take proactive measures to lead the public to public safety. That comes with health crises just as much as it does with any others. We have to be leading by example. I think that there have been many of examples of how our leadership on many levels have turned something that is a health crisis into a partisan divide of an issue, and it should never have been. So I'm wholeheartedly in disagreement, and I hope that everybody continues to stay masked up and keep their families safe.
Thank you, Baz. I appreciate that. Mr. Higgins.
Yeah, so, once again, our leadership and the governor has shown, basically this order is a value statement about what's important, and putting profit over people once again, that we've seen once again. And so I'm hopeful that, our communities will remain vigilant, and that as we've seen in this pandemic and then with the snowpocalypse that just happened, right? The people came together and took care of themselves, right? While our city government was kind of failing in those efforts and without having a coordinated response between the council and the mayor, the people came together. I was at the Harvest Project over at Warren United Methodist Church and was able to help them give away thousands of gallons of water, thousands of meals over the course of a few days. And so I feel like it takes for leadership that has real grounding with organizers and people in the community that's already doing the work, that can create coordinated responses and take care of the people when our city won't.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Johnson. Oh, hold on. Let me in.
I'm
There you go.
disappointed. Yeah, I'm disappointed in the governor's response because personally, right now, this is rocking me personally. When I say rocking me personally, number one, I'm a COVID survivor, and my assistant's mom is in the hospital right now, and her brother may not make it. And so when I say it's affecting my office right now and myself and my family, it's affecting me because I consider them family. I think we need to return to common sense. If somebody can lose their life, somebody can get something that can cost them their lives, we need to be extremely safe. We need to keep our masks on, and we need leadership that is going to mandate that, because this is affecting each and every one of us on a daily basis. We have to have a return to common sense. And when it comes to that kind of thing, I think I can bring that. I used to be the legal counsel at the American Federation of Teachers. We had 10,000 members, so I had to coordinate services for 10,000 members. So in that particular situation, I think I can bring those skills to bear and try to bring some common sense back to COVID.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, this is clearly a failure of leadership, meaning that I don't know who he's listening to. He's definitely not listening to the doctors and to the scientists. This, unfortunately, is something that our city is going to have to deal with. As much as it is easy to try to push this on our local city and county officials, this is not their issue. This is a failure of leadership at the state level. And so I think that what we're doing in my household is we're not just single masking, we're double masking, or either getting a hardcover mask for myself, my wife, and my children. I want to encourage everyone on this call to please maintain social distancing, keep wearing your mask, keep doing what you know is the right thing to do until we know for sure we're out of COVID.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Felder.
I have to echo a lot of the sentiments that I've heard with regard to the governor's decision. I think it's premature. And I also think that it's a deflection because he is under heat for the power failure that happened under his watch. And so to that extent, I think that this is just a deflection of what is really going on. I think, again, you need to listen to the scientists. You need to listen to medical professionals, not listen to a politician telling you to do something that he has no idea what medically can happen to you by releasing you from the restriction of having a mask on your face. And so as for me and for mine, we are going to continue to wear our mask, and I encourage everyone else, continue to wear your mask until you hear from the health professionals like the CDC or Dr. Fauci to continue to wear your mask to protect yourself and to protect others. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question is, what can the City Council do to address the issue of affordable housing in Dallas? Again, Baz, let's start with you.
Thank you, Brandy. I was proud to be on the prevailing side of a vote just last week for one of the LIHTC projects that came forward to the city of Dallas. And that project was bringing the first affordable housing project in District 10. The reason I say I'm proud for that is this is the first one that has been brought to District 10 since 1990. A part of the comprehensive housing policy had a goal to spread the opportunity of affordable housing throughout the city of Dallas and to address the concentration of low-income housing in the southern sector of our city. I think that is one of the balances that needs to happen on this council. I think a lot of how affordable housing is going to be approached differently from the southern sector leaders than it will be from the northern sector leaders. And a lot of what we have to do is push for equity, just like we have to do with anything down here in the South, and to make sure that that opportunity is spread throughout the city for all who need it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Felder, we're gonna toss it up a little bit. Mr. Felder.
Well, thank you for the question. I'm in the real estate business. And so when I was on council, we passed the housing policy that everybody is working on now. And before I left council, I directed $10 million to go into affordable housing. One of the statistics that nobody understands or even knows about, that only 25% of the people that live in South Dallas own their own homes. 25%. The others are owned by investors, the city of Dallas, or banks. And so that was very important for me to put that money on the ground, because when you have a home, that is your investment. That's the largest investment that most of us will ever have. And in South Dallas, that is the key to get more people in homes, and that is going to stabilize the neighborhoods. Many of the problems that we have in South Dallas is because people don't have a stable home. And so that is what I intended to do, and it's happening right now when you see those housing starts. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Felder. And I see that we were able to get Mr. Turknett to join us. So we are going to pause briefly, give Mr. Turknett 1 minute to give himself an introduction, and then 1 minute to respond to the question. And just heads up, sir, the question is, what can City Council do about affordable housing in Dallas? So, sir, you've got 2 minutes. Thank you. Oh, hold on, you are muted. Let's get you up.
Hi, I'm James Sherman. Thank you. I've been over in 14 and joined them, but I went to District 7. I'm definitely running for City Council. This is my 3rd attempt, and I'm excited. I bring in the YES program. The YES is basically for the youth. E is for economic development. S is for seniors, safety, and security. And yes, we do need to bring affordable housing and look at it more comparative weight that we have affordable housing. Currently at the time talking to people about bringing more affordable housing to Dallas, and also the small homes that everybody is interested in, especially for veterans. I'm a United States veteran and served over 8 years, and I want to make sure that we have equal opportunity for all of our citizens and the D-South residents, whether you're in East, whether you're in Southeast, whether you're in South Dallas, or whether you're in Joppy area in Oak Cliff. So I'm James Turknett, running for District 7.
Thank you, sir. And if you could answer the question, which is, what can the City Council do to deal with affordable housing?
Well, Definitely, to deal with affordable housing, we really have to educate our constituents. I think a lot of our problems is the lack of education. And as a communication a student and a leader, we need, as city councils, to make sure that we understand the process ourselves, our constituents understand the process of buying a house, what it takes, help them get in a position, make sure that they're with the right general contractors, whether it's Habitat Humanity or other contractors that we bring in as a city council to work with our constituents to make sure they get in the house. There are so many options and avenues, things that we could do, but I believe the communication process is what I bring to the table, and leadership, and also bring more people back to District 7 sector.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
I think the first thing that we need to do is have more local home ownership. And I think somebody else mentioned that earlier. I think Mr. Felder did. When you have 75% of the people in the community that don't live in the community, that just invest in the housing, that's where everything starts to go left. You got to have more local home ownership. And to be able to do that, you got to do a number of things. You got to create fair lending practices for the banks that actually loan money for people to build houses. There's been a problem in Southern Dallas and District 7 with the banks not being fair when they're loaning people money. The second thing we got to do is when you set up a program, and let's say if you get a $10 million grant or an investment from somewhere, from the federal government or state government, we got to make sure dollars actually go toward affordable housing. I think they're up on Bear Street, there was like $6.6 million worth of fraud up there. And so when I point to things like that, we got to make sure that the dollars that get allocated actually go toward affordable housing as opposed to just going in somebody's pocket.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, first, I think this issue can get a little convoluted when you ask exactly what a city council person can do, because where I differ from our incumbent is making sure our neighborhood associations are aware of all of the proposed zoning changes. What I have seen, especially we're talking about South Dallas, and what I see in South Dallas is potential zoning changes that could usher in multifamily housing in neighborhoods that want single family housing. And our current council member has been derelict in his duty and being responsive to the neighborhood associations. And so, for example, right across the street from Dunbar High School, right next to a very rundown apartment situation, you have a home that just sold for $298,000. What does that do to the taxes of the homeowners who live in homes that are worth less than $100,000? So I think the first thing is to be honest and open about what's happening, and also to make sure that we can keep the community engaged in the zoning process and the changes going past the 200 feet of notification. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Higgins.
So I have to agree with a lot of what I'm hearing from the other candidates. I would question and challenge the definition of what we call affordable. First of all, right? The definition that the city uses, since they're one of the biggest developers in the city of affordable housing, I think is flawed, right? The people that I see in the district when we talk about affordable housing, for instance, South Dallas Fair Park, can't afford what's called affordable housing, and they can't afford to live where they won't be able to afford to live where they live now if that vision of affordable housing is the one that it continues forward. So I would say, first of all, we have to reimagine what we're calling affordable, make that formula more relative to what the median income of the people in that district is, and the working people, the working families, the working people in the district, and create a new formula for what affordable housing is. And quite frankly, it's not $900 a month boxcar, one bedroom developments, right? And so we just got to get real about that as well. And that's what I would challenge.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so next question. I think I got everybody because I don't think that the other candidate has jumped in. It does not appear to. Okay, so the next question is, and I'm totally calling audible, making this up as I go for this particular question, is what are the 3 most important tasks, topics, things to accomplish in the event you win and in your first term? So let's go with, I'm just totally looking around here, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, I think the most important thing right now, number one, is reducing crime. As a criminal defense lawyer, I have relationships with judges who work these programs down at the courthouse. I do barbershop talk with the Dallas Police Department gang unit. And we need to reduce crime because people will not invest dollars in a community where crime is high, number one. Number two, affordable housing. And we have to be honest, like somebody else said, honest about what affordable is. And we also need to make sure that money that is earmarked for affordable houses or for affordable housing ends up in affordable housing. Number three, what we need to do is we need to prevent crime. When I say prevent crime, reducing crime is one thing, prevent crime. You prevent crime by making sure that all of the neighborhood associations are engaged, that you create mentoring programs, that you create opportunities throughout the district, because our district has 5 or 6 or 7 different parts that need to meet together to begin to understand what each other needs. So we need to bring those things together so we can prevent crime and reduce crime.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, first, and I kind of touched on it earlier, it's zoning, but I kind of couch zoning and gentrification together, because if you're not careful about zoning changes, you will be ushering in gentrification. The second one is public safety. I am not and have not been in favor of dismantling our police department. While I do feel we don't need a militarized police department, in the area that I serve, Fort Dunbar Elementary School, for example, had to go in lockdown 4 times this school year already, even in the midst of COVID, because of dangerous situations that have happened during the middle of the day. That does not speak to me that we need less police officers. That speaks that we need a more effective policing. And the last one is just a city issue. This is not a national issue. This is not something that are going a lot of attention, but it's illegal dumping, something that I wish our current council member would pay more attention to in certain parts of his district, because we have illegal dumping happen at record numbers, and code enforcement, no one is responding, and repeated calls have been made to the councilman's office and nothing happened. So I will say that when it comes to public safety, I have definitely partnered. I found it a steady hand.
Time's up. Yeah, time's up.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Turknett. Hold on. Let's get you unmuted.
Yes.
There you go.
My important 3 issues again is yes. Why yes? That's my platform. Youth and then young people 35 and under. We want to make sure that we make sure we have anti-drug programs, anti-gang, anti-violence programs, and we want to help our youth that they can be empowered and they can be strengthened and mentored. Also, we would like to partnership, not defund the police, but we would like to partnership with the police and the youth. We would like to have the police departments go back into the schools and study halls, alternative class periods, and even after school, and build relationships with our youth. Because many of our Dallas Police Association, that we are going to let them know that we know they don't like the bad characters that have been killing some of our youth, and they want them off the street. We do too. And those that you can retrain them. We want from the youth that we're mentoring, maybe we could start an academy or a program, and we can produce police officers from the youth.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Higgins.
Wow. A lot of public safety, policing centric answers. I would say that I think the 3 issues, and I think that where people are marginalized and where they're facing the most problems systemically need to be addressed first. And when we're talking about that in our district, we do have to mention South Dallas Fair Park. And I think PD 595, there needs to be a task force to immediately revise ordinances and different things that are standing in the way of folks who have the courage and imagination to put businesses into the community, to revitalize the community. Also, I feel like that there needs to be a real look at reallocation of funds into city programs, community programs that give young people jobs, that take care of mental health, and that take our police officers away from doing so much work that they're doing right now in the streets, and letting them focus on violent crime and take them, minimize the interactions. between the police and the community for unnecessary things. So those are the kind of things. Can't get to all of them in 2 minutes, but you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just 1 minute.
Baz?
Yes, thank you, Brandy. Good question. The top three for me would be public safety, which is multifaceted, also bringing transparency and accountability steady back to City Hall. And also it is economic development in both smart growth for retail and small businesses in the district that add as an asset, but also the affordable housing. I think it's important to comment on a couple of things that were mentioned. And one is PD 595. I absolutely agree that we have a lot of changes that need to be made, which is why we currently have the task force that was just suggested. I strongly encourage any candidate to get on the District 7 mailing list so you can be current, up to date with what's going on in the district. I also strongly encourage everyone to evaluate what entities are responsible for what, because the DISD, which is a school that school district I used to work for and frequently had lockdowns, has their own police department, and that should not fall in the hands of the Dallas Police Department, which is out of our jurisdiction.
Thank you. Mr. Felder.
So the first thing I would say is that we need to get a handle on public safety. It is out of control. When I was on city council, when things got bad, I went on the beat with the chief of police, going door to door to find out who committed a crime. And we solved some crimes in Buckner Terrace and South Dallas. That's number one. You have to be hands-on. You cannot be missing in action when something is happening in your district. Number two, with regard to affordable housing, there has to be a balance of housing. You can't have all low income and you can't have gentrification. You have to have mixed income. And so while I'm at it, I'm responsible for a 250 unit housing subdivision right by Buckner Terrace. And so I want you to know that I can bring those things to bear. And the last thing I want to say is that you have to meet with the constituents. I had 50 town hall meetings in 2 years. That pales in comparison to what the incumbent is doing.
That's time.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I believe I've got everybody on that. Now that I went off script, it's hard for me to keep track. So if I didn't, raise your hand. Great, okay. So next issue is, do you support precluding short-term rentals from single-family residential zoned areas? Why or why not, whatever your answer is. Okay, let's go with Mr. Higgins.
I think I would say no. And I think it's a case-by-case basis that I would be looking at I don't think that it is something that I really would like to talk to the neighborhood and the people in the community to find out the pulse of the community, to find out what they feel about it and if they want it in their communities, right? I have had a career of having a collaborative decision-making philosophy. And so I don't profess to know all the answers when it comes to this, but I have been boots on the ground in the community, and I know how to bring people together to solve problems and talk about their problems and get their feedback. And that's what I would do. I would first get the feedback from the community to find out how they feel about those issues.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Johnson.
I'm not for those short-term rentals. I know the property owner likes to do what they want to do with their house, but when you have those short-term rentals, there's just too many problems. I was talking to somebody on South Avenue, and they were telling me that somebody recently bought the house next door, and they were renting it, and people were partying and driving by really, really fast and causing all these problems. And so if you try to deal with it the next day, who do you go deal with? The owner wasn't the one staying there the night before, and he may have somebody new staying there the next night. We are not going to be able to get a hold on crime by having these short-term rentals in our neighborhoods, and you're not going to get some consistency of knowing who your neighbors are when you have people night in and night out, week in, week out, changing in and changing out. what they're doing at their house. And then it's hard to even hold the homeowner responsible because the homeowner may not come in and check on that place for a long time. And you could have had 5 or 6 or 7 different people renting that place. So I'm not a fan of that. And we need to be careful about doing that because those people are more investors. They're not people buying the properties to live in them. And we need more people in our area to live in them.
Thank you, sir. Okay, yes. Mr. Turknet? Needs to unmute. There you go.
Yes, I think I agree. I agree with Chenga on this particular, that it's a case by case. Yeah, the STR, short-term rentals, we had challenges, but case by case in this particular situation. And then the community, we need to get out if city council is involved in the community and find out what's happening. And if they need to be closed down, they can be closed down. So I would say a case by case situation concerning STRs.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Parrish.
Yes, my overall view on short-term rentals is I do not have an issue with Airbnbs and other short-term rentals. However, if we do have a unit or a property that's become a nuisance or that is a problem, then I think we need to, at that point, move to address that owner in a very real fashion. But as a rule of thumb, I'm not against it, but we will definitely listen to the community. And if we are having recurrent issues, we will definitely address those.
Mr. Felder.
Oh, again, being in the real estate business, I have a strong opinion about this. I don't support short-term rentals because there's a lot of issues that can happen in short-term rentals. You probably get a lot of code violations in short-term rentals in terms of noise, trash, transients. And so I don't support short-term rentals. You have to make sure that the zoning laws as well as the neighborhood is respected, because you don't want people coming in and out. You don't know who's coming in and out of that short-term rental. If you're renting it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, there are people constantly turning over. And so that is something that makes the neighborhood unstable and unsafe. So I'm against those. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Baz.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I would say that this is one of just about any policy that I would think that needs to be approached data-driven. And I absolutely think that regulations need to be put in place, but I think that data needs to drive what those regulations look like. I've heard from some colleagues throw out proposals of eliminating them from single-family dwellings only. I don't agree with that. I think that if we look through data at where the complaints come in that are predominantly being used for party houses, we can see, and I've seen, that they are all above a certain square feet. So maybe we can even mandate based on the size of the home. I think that we need to have a registration that we enforce much more than the beginning that we've started. And I also believe that we need to put more pressure on the platforms like Airbnb to get our fair share of hot tax, since this is now a supplement for hotel stays and the city is not benefiting at all from this.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, everyone. So I think we are within the last 5 minutes of our given time. And I want to thank everyone for their participation. We are going to go to the lightning round, where instead of getting a whole minute, you get a whole 5 seconds. Yay! So I am going to rapid fire these questions to you. Hopefully they will not be too difficult to answer. Again, most of them will be yes or no. In the event it's not a yes or no answer, if you could keep it to 5 words or less, we would appreciate that. If not, Rosie will yell at you. Okay, so I am going to do my best to try to get these questions and people in order, and I apologize if I screw it up and blow everybody's time. So, all right, we are going with, do you support Black Lives Matter movement? Mr. Felder.
Some of their tenants, not all of their tenants.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Some, but not all.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Turknet.
Some of it, I definitely believe.
Mr. Baz.
Yes.
Mr. Higgins.
Wholeheartedly, yes.
All right, great. 1 down. Do you support the legalization of marijuana? Mr. Turknet.
I would have to do more of a study on that, say no at the time.
Okay, Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
No. No.
Mr. Felder.
Decriminalization, not legalization.
Mr. Baz.
Yes.
Mr. Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you. Would you support a zero tolerance political sign policy for the city of Dallas?
Can
Mr.
I interrupt
Higgins.
for a second? I don't know what that is. So I'm hoping maybe someone else doesn't know what that is either.
What? Okay, so I believe that there is a proposal, or maybe I don't know where it's coming from, but there is a deal where that there would be a ban on political signs in the city and or county. And so therefore, if someone had a political sign and there was zero tolerance, that we wouldn't allow it and it'd be taken down. Richardson actually has
Like
kind of one.
Yard signs, like the candidate yard sign?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
That's what I think we're talking about. So let's go with that for the yes or no's. Okay, Mr. Felder.
No.
Mr. Johnson.
No.
Mr. Parrish.
I honestly have no idea.
That's fair. Mr. Turknett.
Probably, I'm there. I don't know.
Mr. Higgins.
I would support a ban on it from an environmental standpoint.
Baz.
No, it's unconstitutional and we're preempted by Texas property law.
Thank you. Okay, do you support a measure to require paid sick leave for employees outside? And I know that Dallas City Council has previously done this, but let's see how every individual feels right now. Mr. Johnson.
No, I think because the legality of it, it's not going to stand a constitutional challenge. As a lawyer, I know that.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Felder.
Yes, and I supported it when I was on council.
Thank you. Mr. Higgins.
Yes.
Baz.
Yes.
Great. All right, and so this is not a yes or no, but a number. How long have you lived in your city council district? Mr. Higgins.
14 years.
Baz.
8 years.
Mr. Felder.
25 years.
Mr. Johnson.
3 years now, and then before then, 30 years.
Oh, okay. Mr. Parrish.
I've lived for 8 months, but my church has been here 111 years.
Okay, goodness. Mr. Turknett.
Over 30 years.
Wonderful. So that's the end of my speed round. Apparently we are ahead of time because of great timekeeping. So thank you for every single candidate who has participated tonight. Mr. Turknett, I do apologize for the lateness of getting you into the group. We are still trying to figure out this whole room and administration and trying to get it all the wheels greased. So appreciate everyone's patience and tolerance. And we can, if you look at the very bottom right hand of your screen, there's a blue button that says leave room. If you click on it, it will give you the option to leave the entire meeting or just go back into the main meeting, which we will be going to have some social time and also find out who the winner is of the cocktails. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. And also, once you're in the other room, the candidates, if you would please leave your contact information or how and where people can find you in the chat, we'd appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Yay, Brandy, way to go.
Thank you, Brandy. Great moderator.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rosie, for
Lee.
keeping time.
Walk out mad because they said they were confused. And they were only confused because of what President Trump had told them, that it was not a good process. You couldn't trust it. And I don't know why they waited to vote on election day, because they had planned to vote by mail. They were so mad when they got there, they left. And I hope they were Republican voters, but who knows?
Yeah, I just dropped in the chat the eligibility around voting for mail, because I think there's a couple more ways to qualify besides being over 65, luckily. But yes, I would agree there is some confusion and debate.
Yeah, and somebody asked, so let me clarify what I was saying about if you get a mail-in ballot, you can surrender it at the polling location to the election judge and then vote regularly. You can't just drop off a filled out ballot any place except the county election office, but you can spoil your ballot, surrender it with the election judge, and go ahead and vote, which is what a lot of people did in 2020.
Great, thank you. It sounds like people are about to join us in a couple of minutes, so thank you, my group, for so much participation, and thank you everyone else that joined us in the main group. Awesome, we're all back together.
Great, and this is Brandy Chambers. I want to thank everyone who attended the District 7 position meeting, or little huddle, if you will. Thank you to all the candidates for participating. We had, I believe, 6 or 7, I don't know, we had a lot. Everyone participated, gave great answers, and just, we had a really good session. So thank you for everybody for being so patient with me going through this. And if you have, like I said, all the candidates, please, if you can, leave in the chat where constituents can find you, find out more about you. So whether it be a Facebook site, a website, email, phone, however people can find out more about you, please leave that in the chat for people to be able to contact you. Thank you.
Awesome. And I think we're getting everybody back. I just want to, let's give a big thumbs up or a clap or a snap to our moderators. I think everybody, from what I saw, did an amazing job. Thank you so much. And a bit same thing right to the candidates. Thank you for being here in this new Zoom world. It's such a different world, but I think we did okay. We tried to get everybody in there quickly. Let's give a round of applause to Mary. She put everybody in their room. I think she did.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Awesome. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to launch the poll for the best cocktail, and you should see it pop up on your screen, and you can start voting for the cocktail that you think was the best, and we'll show the results here in a minute. So the other thing, as the candidates are putting their information into the chat, if you there was some people who said that they wanted to ask some questions, and because we like to keep answers short, keep time short, so we're not keeping people on the Zoom call for 2 to 3 hours as we go through this, we didn't open them up for questions in the rooms. What we did do was ask for questions to be submitted online and via our newsletter. We could reply, and then we had our moderators pick questions that they thought made sense for those different districts. So what you can do, if you have questions for your candidate, the way that you can get a hold of them, again, is being put in the chat, and I am sure that they would welcome questions and information back and forth. So definitely contact your candidates if there's something that didn't get answered here tonight. And I would assume that on those ways of communicating with them, you would also be able to find other forums that they'll be participating in before the election. So again, next month we'll be doing school board. I didn't have a drink, I promise. We'll be doing school board candidates. Next Tuesday, we're doing Map the Vote. We have a ton of neighborhood events coming up. Please participate and be on the lookout for how we're going to be doing Lit Stick soon. So got just a couple more seconds to vote. I'm ending the polling now, and we are sharing the results. And District 14 was the winner. What was the District 14? The Boozy Mocha. The Boozy Mocha. 14. Yep, coming in right behind it was 10, 9, and 7, and 2 just barely behind.
Come on. The Deep Ellum Dada Daiquiri, a last place. All right.
Yay, Freda.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
well,
District 14 always wins.
This was great
always.
fun, you guys.
I'll make you one,
I
Chris.
totally
Watch it,
totally
Blue It.
appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys next month. And again, please give just a little bit of donations if you could to make sure we can get lit sticks out and get people voting as much as we can for the municipals. Anybody have anything else to say? We'll just open it up at this point before we sign off.
Christy,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to you and the feds for having this and giving us an opportunity to reach out to the voters. It's pretty awesome when you see numbers over the hundreds of people that are engaged in the municipal process. So thank you all for being a part of this tonight. It's inspiring, it's hopeful, and I really enjoy the work that y'all are doing and continue to do for our city and democracy.
I'd like to make a comment real quick. Chris, can I make a comment about that?
Yeah.
I was in District 14 and we had a nice debate. It was great. But I mean, I'd like to debate Basil Dua. How do I do that?
Yeah. You, David. I want to
Well,
debate
you know what?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
We don't get to do that.
It would be like best in show, right? It's the final. The best in
Well, I could
show.
tell Baz, I could take him all day long. I just can't prove it.
Okay, Christy, I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It is my goal here in Dixon Circle to increase voters, and we are going to start a neighborhood association, and I'm doing some voter registration events. Can I get some help with some deputy voters registrars? I really would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Do you
Yeah,
have my contact information?
Nah, there's no registrars in this group.
Yeah. And if you get that info to me, I'll share it through our Facebook group as well.
Okay, and how do I get to you, Joey?
We'll message Christy or message the feds email even, but I'm joey.gate@gmail.
Okay, I can do
my
that.
email in there, Pamela.
Yeah, talk
Okay.
to me.
So, yeah, because we seem to be looked over. But that being said, I put it in the chat, but if you know anybody in this area that needs water, I got a semi bringing in 20 pallets. That's 720.
Well done.
1,440 cases of water.
So Dixon Circle is actually going to be getting a new playground for your playground that in the park right there next in the Willie Mae Butler Park. So you're definitely not overlooked as far as the park and the rec center. The rec center has just been remodeled as well. So there's some.
I thought it had been remodeled. I love that little water park they got over there.
Oh no, the water park.
But that's nice. But the people can't drink that.
The water park, I'm just saying the water park is not being removed. We're adding a playground for the children, and the building has had remodeling done. So we have been working in that area.
Okay.
That's all I'm clarifying. I'm not saying.
Well, can we get some new basketball hoops?
Absolutely. I saw that last week and I actually made that request. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for that. My child goes out there and plays. Y'all come get the water.
Thank you.
Just so you know, the happenings of Dixon Circle, we served over 1,700 meals last week and gave away 5 pallets of water as well. Dixon Circle is needed because we got to take care of us, but I could use some help over here.
Pamela.
I just want to chime in for a second.
We need Pamela's email.
I'm connecting with her on Facebook right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll chime in
And
for
I'll
one.
give you my email, no problem sharing it, but I'm Dr. Grayson at collectiveactivism.com.
Calvin has been trying to speak for a while, but for some reason there he goes.
Can I get in for a second?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that the tennis court at Willie Mae Butler Park is being converted from a tennis court to a basketball court, and that was in the 2017 bond. That came under me.
It's actually not going to be converted.
It's not a debate. I'm just letting you know what I did on the bond. That's all I'm saying. It's not a debate. It's not a debate.
But I just want to let you know that it's the truth.
Not a debate.
It's not going to be converted because we're not going to invest $80,000 in a new basketball court when the one that's there just needs backboards and we have no playground for the children to play. So
I'm just letting you know what was in the bond and what was allocated. So if it's changed, it's changed. But that was allocated. It came out of the bond.
Can I say something? First of all, I'm a native. That's the place. That basketball court is the place that I spend most of my time. I grew up in Larry Johnson, going to play college basketball for year and a half. So I have an affinity for the community. So if anybody's on there, over there on this forum, if y'all need some help, go to my email, call me. I'm going to make sure that my community is taken care of, because that community taught me everything that I know about life, and I'll never forget it. And I'm indebted to it for my entire life. I love Dixon. And if anybody needs any help there, y'all let me know. Calvin Johnson will step up all day, every day for it, because that's where I started from.
Well, you can come help me pass out water Tuesday or Wednesday, okay?
I will. And matter of fact, I'm going to do you one better. We're going to feed barbecue there within the next 2.5 weeks. And so I'm going to get with you. I have a guy who's going to bring a barbecue truck, and we're going to feed the community barbecue meals, okay?
All right, I hear you talking.
The way we do it. You know how we do it over there. Nothing's said.
Thank you. Somebody.
Thank you.
All right, District 7 in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Anybody else got another announcement? This always happens. We get done and then nobody wants to leave because we haven't had an interaction in so long. I just love seeing all your faces.
Personally, I don't want to leave because I get FOMO that somebody's going to say something interesting after I get off.
I hear
All
that.
right, we'll hang out for a little bit more, see if there's any other announcements.
Thank you
I
all.
will tell you
Thank
that
you.
Mary loves having the power to just say, I'm tired of this, and knock it off. So
Yeah.
we might just be gone at any moment. So just be aware of that.
I will be
Can I
tolerant.
remind everybody when it's, May 1st is Election Day. Saturday, May 1st.
April 19th is early.
Early vote. Go vote.
I'll take care.
All right, bye.